Okay, so I'm gonna continue to talk about Sonetta for just a little bit because, like I said, I don't have a lot of memories of how badly he's traumatized me, and I honestly I don't know what he's done to other victims. If I had this information, I would be honest with you guys and I would share because it's not right what he's done to innocent people. It's not right at all. I don't co-sign to his behavior. I don't support his behavior at all. I'm just not with it. The only reason why I supported him originally was because I didn't know the skeletons in his closet. I had no idea that Sonetta was capable of being like this. When I watched House of Consciousness and Black News TV, I was on a journey and a search for knowledge, wisdom. That's it. So when I discovered his page and I seen, some of the things that he was talking about as far as science and history, I was on board because he was, like I said, releasing very potent information that they don't release in school. And I'm gonna talk about the education system a little bit later. But let's just say that the education system, via white supremacy, is personally responsible for why black conscious leaders can slither their way into the communities and teach our children. See, because if you're a hardworking parent, right? Say you're a child, or you grew up with parents. Say you only got one parent in the household, and that parent works to take care of the family. Or say you got two parents in the home and they both work to take care of you, right? Or you got one parent working and then the other parent stays at home, but the other parent may not necessarily have had like a college education, or they may not have graduated high school. So you're looking to get your education as a kid growing up to be an adult, and you're trying to look for that knowledge and that wisdom. Some people can't afford college. See what I mean? And if you're looking for leaders and mentors to teach yourself or to teach your children, sometimes it's very difficult to really be able to do the proper investigation on someone's character. Especially back then, like now we have social media, we have internet, so we have a whole lot of access to social media to be able to find out things about people that normally we wouldn't have. But most of the time, if you really want to find out dirt about somebody, you got to pay. Think about it. Like if you want to look at someone's public records, you want to see if they have a criminal history, you got to pay. Some people ain't got the money to do that. It's very unfortunate, but some people just don't have the resources. They don't have internet. They don't have a computer. They don't have a phone. They don't have money to be able to get this information. It's unfortunate, and some people end up being put in that unfortunate situation, have to learn the hard way. And I can honestly say that I'm one of those people. Me, some of my family members, we didn't have the resources that some other people that may have been privileged to have. So me, along with some of my family members and some of the peers that I grew up with, had to find out the hard way that certain people were predators. If we don't have the proper resources or the proper education via white supremacy, we end up having to use survival and instinct to find these things out the hard way. It's very unfortunate. And there's a lot of privileged people out there that harshly and unfairly judge those that are, very similar to me. And they say, well, you shouldn't have to learn the hard way. You should just do it. You should just pay. You should just, whatever. And a lot of people are dismissive to the fact that there are people out there that are just underprivileged. They make a mockery because they're vain and they don't really understand that when if someone isn't born into wealth, or they don't have good luck, or they're not privileged, that sometimes experience is the best teacher. And that's really messed up. That's really messed up for experience to be your only teacher. I would not wish that on some of the most privileged people in the world. I wouldn't wish that because it's very horrible. Experience being your teacher, your best friend, your confidant, your guide. It's the most painful experience that you can ever have. And I would never wish that on anyone. But it happens. It happens. And in situations like these where people don't have the proper resources to be able to find out about somebody's character, like babysitters, even babysitters, like babysitters that babysit your kids, or mentors, teachers that teach your kids, you know what I mean? If the parents are spending most of their day at work trying to take care of the family and provide food for the family, they don't really have time to do research. They don't really have time to do their investigation. When are they supposed to eat, take a shit, and go to sleep? Think about that. So for those who are privileged, lay down the blueprint for others that are misfortunate. If you have the privilege and you have the opportunity to do research and investigate people, and you have access to tools and the resources, put people on game. Teach people how to recognize red flags. Teach people what to look out for when you see that they're struggling. Because not everybody had the privileges that you had. Not everybody had the education that you had. Not everybody had the good luck that you had and the good fortune to be able to duck and dodge predators. Some people were unfortunate enough to where they were forced into situations that they had no control over. And a lot of people who have the privilege, because they are ignorant to how someone's free will can be taken away from them, a lot of times, there's that emotional immaturity or maybe some insensitivity, maybe apathy that's there because they don't know. The only thing a lot of privileged people see is the red flags were there. You should have gotten away. But how do you know? Like I'll give an example. Okay, so I don't know. Have some of y'all, for those who have seen the show Everybody Hates Chris, that's a prime example. Like that's the best example at this point that I can give of an underprivileged family that didn't really have control over their situation because of white supremacy, because of poverty, unfortunate circumstances, even in some cases bad luck. Like you can't control who your neighbors are. You can't control sometimes the character of who your babysitter is, especially when you're stretched for time. Now, for those who watch Everybody Hates Chris, you'll understand, or some of y'all have had that experience or worse, where you've had to live extremely underprivileged and in poverty. So I don't really have that's self-explanatory, but I would strongly advise to people to watch at least one episode of Everybody Hates Chris, and you'll understand how a person or a group of people or family members could be so underprivileged and so poor and disadvantaged to where there are some unfortunate situations to where you can't do nothing about it. You have no power, you have no control, and things kind of have to unfold and go as they go. It's very difficult to explain, but sometimes the universe will put us in situations where we have no control over it and we can't get ourselves out of it. We can't run, we can't hide, we can't avoid a person. Yes, that happens often, where the universe will put us in those situations. And let's just say if you had the misfortune of getting to know Sonetta, and you end up in that situation to where you couldn't run, you couldn't hide from him, you couldn't escape from him and his abuse, and you had to just deal with it. That's very unfortunate, but just know that I understand, because I was one of those victims that was put in that situation to where I couldn't run away from him. I couldn't move away because I was a child. You see what I mean? So for those who had to deal with Sonetta and know him personally, I'm so sorry for what you had to go through. I'm seriously, I'm so sorry that you had to deal with that. But, sometimes the universe will put us in those situations to expose people's characters. It's just that simple. Some of us